Welcome to the Village of Buchanan, August 4th meeting. In case of emergency, please use the exit to your right here, or use the exit behind the elevator. Never use an elevator in case of emergency. This evening, we're going to take a moment of silence for Henry Hank Hardlicker, longtime Buchanan resident, volunteer fireman, very involved. At one time, he was on one of our boards here. So I'd like to just to take a moment of silence for him. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. A nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you, everyone. So first, we're going to approve the minutes of the June 23rd workshop and the July 7th board meeting. Any questions, comments on these?
No questions or comments.
Okay. Can I have make a motion to accept? Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Comments from floor, agenda items only. So I also want to mention to everyone, there is a clock on the wall. By code, it is 3 minutes that you speak. I can also, as the presiding officer, if you can come back up again. If I okay it, you can come back up again. You cannot, if you don't use up your 3 minutes, you cannot give extra minutes to someone else. So I just want everyone to be aware of that. Under new business, oh, I'm sorry.
Resolution on the bottom, that part of this beginning?
Yeah, anything agenda items. So if it's an agenda item, this is the time you can comment, or you can comment after. And please
Mayor?
state your name and where you.
Gary Bell, 230 Henry Street. Mayor, Board of Trustees, thank you for letting me address you tonight. I know that these two things are on the agenda, and I think that you guys are looking to be lead agency. I've been living in this village over 50 years, and over those 50 years, I've been on boards here for 32 years. I'm speaking from a little bit of experience, and I would suggest to you that you let the planning board be the lead agency. They understand about planning, unless there's some law that I don't know about, but they understand about planning, and it might knock off some of the problems you've had with AMS and with Carbones. I'm not going to go into detail with them, but I feel really bad for Buchanan itself, because we're getting a lot of negative press here, and basically the people in Buchanan are pretty decent. So I would just take that into consideration. Let it go the right way. I did a subdivision, Miho Woods. We did all of those lots down there. I did a subdivision off of Tate, which is, what's that? Teresa and Donahue Court? Or am I saying the wrong name? Valerie, I'm sorry. And
You
also
change it to Teresa if you liked her. I'm kidding.
and also off of Greentown Road, and the property you're going to be talking about, that was one giant piece of property, and we did the subdivision for that, and that's how Save a Tree is there, AAA, the other buildings on the right. And during that resolution, when that property was going to go over 50% used, whoever went over 50% had to bring a connector road from Greentown all the way out to Broadway. And I'm sure if you go back in the resolutions in the 80s or someplace, I've been looking for it at home, and I can't tell you, I can't find it. And I got a lot of stuff at home, but I just can't seem to find it. But I remember doing that. I like I said, I've been on the planning board. I sat there for 16 years and I'm chairman of the zoning board right now. So just a little bit of experience from my point of view.
I think you have a lot of experience. Thank you, Gary. I know what you're referring to. There's a certain thing that triggers that road that goes out to Broadway. I believe it was a square footage. I have to look it up. I have it somewhere in my records. I'm sure we could find it, but looking at the site plan, it is on the site plan that the road does go through the property. I also had said something about going to the planning board, giving this to the planning board. But unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you want to look at, the village board is the only board that can do this because there's a change. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a change that has to be done in our zoning laws. And so the village board is the only board that will be able to do that. I'm sorry. Yeah, you didn't finish your 3 minutes, so. But
But listen, is there a law to change that now?
it's too late because the application is in. We would have needed to do this before the application.
The application hasn't been granted.
We, I think on June 18th, the application was in for this project.
But you haven't granted anything for this application yet.
No, we're just, tonight, we will be,
So I'll defer to the lawyer, but
we're not going to change it now.
you can't change it now?
It's in our code and we have no. We accepted an application and that's what it says when we accepted that application.
All right. I
But it
know
will be-
service
let's just-
agency on a couple of other.
No, I agree with you,
And
but
I,
yeah, it's in the code and
But it will go to the planning board
for comments.
for
rightfully
comments
so,
and for,
yeah.
right. So it's
Yeah.
not like we're skipping the planning board. Planning board will have a
Well-
role in this.
Listen, I'm here tonight talking because we skipped the planning board on these two other projects.
Mr.
And
Bell, with
that-
all due respect, that is not correct.
We
We did not skip the planning board on
I never had anything in front of my zoning board. And as far as I know, is there any planner guys here, Tom?
the AMS project. You could actually look at the videotape and we have minutes of those meetings. I believe there was 4 or 5 meetings.
Planning board?
So
Absolutely.
the planning
Yeah.
board reviews it, they make comments, and it's up to the board whether they accept those comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's the difference.
That's right.
Thank you, Gary. All right, anyone else for agenda items only?
So this is a revote tonight, correct?
Yes, the developer asked for a full board.
Right, well, let's see, there's not a full board. Okay, there should be no vote tonight because obviously there's conflicts of interest. Maybe more than one person on this board hasn't been settled yet. And why are you being told by a lawyer that you have to vote yes for this thing? If you don't want the zoning, why are you voting yes? Why are we pushing this thing at a warp speed? Why is it getting forced down our throats? Why can't the builder build on his 7 acres? Why does he got to be greedy and go after a big pie, then taking a little piece of the pie? Because in my opinion, the only people making money here is the developer and whoever is on the payroll. That's it. We get nothing out of this. It doesn't fix our tax problem. You've had people come up here, tell you guys all the information. Have you even looked at the EAF that was put in June? And also, was the petition to build accepted by you, the board? Did you, the board, see this thing on the next meeting and accept it? Or you don't have to accept it? Who accepts that paper? Who takes it? Who's accountable for it?
It was submitted, and I had a question. I don't know, Mr. Tisser, if you could answer that.
Who accepts it? Who takes charge of that thing and says, yeah, okay, we're accepting your offer to build here now? Is there no accountability to this board or the village manager? Is there none?
I don't know.
Well, obviously you have to be involved with these people when developing stuff. So questions are being asked, but there's no answers. So again,
Did we
your
have-
lawyer's not here to tell us why you have to vote yes at all. That's another reason to stop the vote. So our lawyer that we're paying for can explain to these people back here why you have to vote yes. Because at the end of the day, you clearly do not want this, okay? But now you're being forced to do something that you don't want to do. Why are you being forced without explaining this? Because now people are going to look at this thing and say, well, she must want it now because she's voting towards this thing. You're being forced in the position. Even Mr. Wheeler, who abstained from this thing last time, did not like this down a wormhole. Once you're in bed with these guys, it's over with. There's no way out. Nobody's giving us a definitive answer money or time. There's no definitive answer other than it's a process. That's all you get. So there's no answer who approved this at all. You didn't accept it as a board. You as a board not say, okay, we're going to accept this thing. It never's on a board meeting, never on an agenda. So again, no answers. It looks pretty bad out in the real world when people are looking at our meetings in the town of Cortland for a plank and look at, wow, there's no answers. The board's dysfunctional. Before you guys can even vote on stuff like this, you need to figure out how to work together. Because Mr. Capcati numerous times said, I can't work with the mayor. If you can't work with somebody and be a team, how are you supposed to do what's best for these people back here? How? Again, no explanation. You have code of ethics violations in play here for more than possibly one person on this whole board. And again, no answers about who okayed the petition to build. And we're here now. So again, I got 5 seconds with no answers.
My question, well, I like how that beeps. That's good. My question is, I don't know who can answer it. I know our attorney isn't here this evening. Were we supposed to officially accept it at a meeting and vote on it? Or because it was submitted, it was accepted? I don't know. I don't know.
Another reason not to have a vote tonight. You don't have a full board and you don't have an answer. Very simple.
All right.
David, do you think maybe you can shed some light on this?
I'll do the best I can. So I think there's a misunderstanding with the term acceptance. Just because the village has received a petition for rezoning doesn't mean that they're accepting and approving the project. Procedurally, an applicant has come before the village. They have submitted a petition for rezoning. That's an action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. That needs to be reviewed before any decision is made. The village board is in no position at this point to be making any decisions with respect to the rezoning or a special permit. So the process is that the petition is received by the village. If you intend to review it so that you have the information before you so that you can make an informed decision, then procedurally what you would need to do is file or circulate a notice of intent to act as lead agency. The lead agency designation means that the board who is ultimately looking at the decision-making powers coordinates the environmental review. The environmental review, in this case, similar to what AMS went through, also includes your planning board. And as part of that process, similar to this process, if you decide to move it forward, the planning board would receive the documents and the plans, they would review it on your behalf, and they would submit comments back to you for your consideration. So the notice of intent to act as lead agency is circulated to your planning board. It's suggested that it go to the town of Cortland, city of Peekskill, Westchester County Department of Health, and Westchester County Department of Planning, and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. There's a time period in which those agencies have an opportunity to review the materials that were submitted in petition and to get back to the village board to see if they have any objection to you assuming the role of lead agency. After that time period, then you formally declare yourself lead agency. You would you may potentially ask for additional information in the form of studies, technical memorandum on things like traffic, school kids, fiscal analysis, impacts to community services. And all this is part of a process so that the village understands what the potential impacts and what the mitigation may be for this particular proposal. At any point, because this is a discretionary action, the village could simply say, we're no longer interested in entertaining the application. That's my understanding. I'm not a lawyer. I don't try and play one on TV, but that's my understanding, that because it is a discretionary action, the village board has that purview. So there will be, if the board decides to move forward, there will be public hearings. The information will be made available on the village website for everybody to review and comment on. And certainly at this point, no decision has been made one way or the other on this particular application. All you're doing is you're setting in process or in motion the process for environmental review, adding transparency to the process by allowing the public to view the documents and the plans and the studies before any decision is made by the village. So hopefully that provides a little bit more clarity as to the process. And because the village board is the only entity that can change the zoning map to allow this to happen, that's why under seeker, they have the broadest approval authority and they should be the lead agency.
So to summarize, this board, our only action is to vote upon whether or not to be lead agency to accept the application for lead agency.
You've received the application. It's to circulate your notice of intent to act as lead agency to the other interested and involved agencies. So that everybody has an opportunity to comment on it
And that is-
before you formally declare yourself lead agency.
And to clarify, that is the only thing that this board is voting on this evening in regards to that matter.
If that's the board's desire, and that's what you're voting on, that's the only resolution that I have before me that you would be voting on, just the notice of intent to act as lead agency.
And this board is the only board capable of reviewing that application. We are the lead agency according to the code.
Well,
village.
you are one of the boards that reviews the application. The zoning board, I mean, not the zoning board, the planning board does review the application, but you're the only board who can officially change the zoning map of the Village of Buchanan.
Thank you.
So you're saying the intent, tonight would be on the intent of it, but we're not lead agency yet.
Correct. You have to,
We
under
notify
seeker,
the other agencies and the other agencies have
Right.
a chance to.
Right.
typically 30 days is provided for
Correct.
comment before that decision gets made.
So there. Okay. So we'll be in the next couple of, down the road here a little bit, we'll be discussing that further or voting on that. So the first is Mr. Comey, are you on this evening?
I'm sorry, Mayor, if there's a resident with another.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Apologize.
We know who I am, Tina Zarello, 229 Westchester Avenue, Buchanan. What I'd like to know, and I'm sure you're going to all ask the same question, is what are the benefits to the Village of Buchanan's residents with the overdevelopment of our community? I just basically want to see it in black and white. I just want to know if anybody has even looked at that in perspective and said, okay, this is what each taxpayer is going to get. If we haven't, don't you think we should have it in black and white so we can see the benefits that we're going to receive? Everybody seems to be in favor of overdeveloping 1.4 square miles of the Village of Buchanan. Tell me that it's not going to affect my school. It's not going to affect my road. It's not going to affect my travel. I'm going to be safe in my neighborhood. And yet the list can go on and on and on. And I just keep saying to myself, I feel like I'm talking to this wall when I talk to the board. And I just want to know in black and white. And if we can't get it, someone, the village administrator, might be able to put it in black and white for everybody so we can see the benefits of going forward with overdeveloping the Village of Buchanan or put a moratorium on. And honestly, until you were supposed to, a year and a half ago, have a master plan of the Village of Buchanan, but because the cost was so high, we decided we weren't going to do it. We were just going to take it upon ourselves and do it without the skill and the knowledge that you need. And the attorney that we have, he should be present at every meeting. You hired him. I don't care what his excuse is. He should be here at every time we have a meeting so that we can question it. That's all I have to say tonight, but there's more coming. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tina. I'd like to ask the developer, I know we've asked before, Tina brought up a question about what the tax benefit is, like we haven't, Chris, do you have any idea where we are with that?
What's that?
Somebody behind you.
Oh, that's.
You just
I
called
want-
up the
I
bank,
just asked
correct?
him. Yeah. I just asked.
I apologize.
Yeah,
That's you're pointing to
yeah,
me.
Yes.
Okay.
I
For
did.
the record, David Cooper, partner with the law firm of Aaron and Steinmetz, representing Landy Associates, the applicant before you. That is why you need a lead agency, because the lead agency asks those questions, looks at those issues. What's the fiscal benefit? Let me answer.
No, I'm letting
Yeah,
you speak.
yeah.
Go.
Oh, okay,
No,
sorry.
No,
What's the fiscal benefit?
Mhm.
What's the potential impact on school children? Everything you would hear tonight, you've heard before, all of those questions go to the lead agency. The studies go to the lead agency. They have their consultants look at it, they vet it, they come up with their own determination, right? If this board is saying we're not going to serve as the lead agency, the secret regulations require that there be one, right? What would happen is we would petition the state, we would let the state know that the village board is saying, no, they don't want to be lead agency. And then the DEC would make a determination as to who's the appropriate board to serve as lead agency. I can guarantee you they're going to say your board, because your board not only has zoning jurisdiction over this, right? Not only the zone change, but also under your code. And I think there's just been a little confusion there. Under your code, it's not only the zoning, but the site plan and special permit jurisdiction rests with your board. There is no other board in the village of Buchanan that can issue any approvals for the project. And so therefore, I'm telling you, and I think your consultant would tell you, I think your attorney who is here tonight, and I know you have a special counsel, but I've worked with Stephanie before. I know she knows secret well too.
We've been advised.
They are going to say to
You
you,
have,
to this,
okay.
Yes.
right. So at the
By
end of the
you, Stephanie,
day,
and our land use attorney
Right.
as well.
right. So at the end of the day, all of the questions that you're getting about potential impacts of this development and cumulative impacts, that's all going to be answered. Now, if there were another board to serve as lead agency, that other board would be answering those questions. I'm not sure that your board would want that. For example, if the DEC were to say, you know what, even though we have very, very small jurisdiction over this, we'll take it. I don't think you want the DEC up in Albany or wherever they're going to do it, evaluating that. I think you as the local board want to hear it. So at the end of the day, we're here tonight asking you to please declare your intent to serve as lead agency. The secret regulations require, this is a mandate, right? That within 30 days of receiving an EAF, you distribute it. That's not a vote. You're not voting for that. That should have already occurred. It's not, you don't take a vote to do it. That just happens mandatorily. We submitted on June 18th. It's now August 2nd. That 30-day period has far more than lapsed, right? We could go right to the state tonight. We're saying, let's avoid all that. Declare your intent to serve as lead agency, circulate, and then we can come back and answer those questions. Long-winded answer to say.
Yes, thank
stay
you.
tuned.
No, but my only question was, when we had the AMS project, and also now dealing with the condos, they gave us an estimate, that's my only question, of estimate of the fiscal benefit to the village, and we haven't heard that from your,
We need a lead agency. And you'll
okay, but
hear all of
with
that.
AMS, they didn't, they kind of gave us a rough approximation. That's all I'm asking,
Well-
because I saw it with one, and now I'm not seeing it with this. That was my question.
Yeah, well, again, I think you
It
saw
remains
it.
to be seen.
I think you saw it as the lead agency because I have that there. You know, you declared your intent to serve as lead agency with that application, and you got a fiscal impact analysis. Same thing's going to happen here.
We
thank
look
you.
forward to it.
Good.
Thank you.
So do we.
Hi there, Lisa Mercora, 162 First Street. So my questions, why does it have to be right now? I did hear that comment about the 30 days, but I'm confused about why we are being subjected to put our land that we own as a village through the seeker process. Can a developer come and tell us that our land has to go through seeker, or is that up to us? Because I don't think putting our land through seeker has to qualify under the same manner as the land that they are the contract vendee for. So I know they're in an agreement probably with Griffin to buy that land. And I understand them wanting to put a proposal for that land. That's totally legitimate. I totally understand it. But can they force you to put village land under seeker review? And if that happens, are we going to then be trapped into a decision on our land that you guys may not be ready to make? Are all your questions answered? The lawyer, his answers to me seemed very confusing, a lot of lawyer terminology, and I'm not sure. Dave just said that he believes if we are no longer interested in entertaining this action at any time, we can just say, no, thank you, we don't want to. But I don't know if that's what the lawyer would say. So should we be putting our land under the constraints of a seeker review at this time? And then just, I don't know if there's any thoughts that you guys have on that, but to me, that sounds very something that we might not want to jump into. I don't know if you have asked your lawyer who works for you as a specialist of land use that should be protecting you, the village, and you, the representatives of the village in every way, working for you, making sure you have an exit ramp, protecting you. You may not want to sell that land. That land has access to Broadway. We may need it for the future if there was a road cut in from the land. It has access to the street. It has access through the other way. If we need it for fire, extra vehicles, whatever, any other use that we may need as we grow, we may find a use for our land that's very profitable on the energy land, and we may need that land to make that possible for more wastewater treatment. A more profitable proposal might be in the best interest of the village. Their petition did talk about this project will activate this area of the village with the residential component acting as a private engine to fund long-awaited improvements to Lents Cove, all without placing a single dollar of tax burden on village residents. A, we're not sure if that's actually true. And B, it doesn't talk about profit to extra revenue to the village. It talks about not placing a tax burden. So I would really think about whether our land should go under seeker review.
Thank you, Lisa. The village board would decide if they want to sell those 3 acres.
Mhm.
The board is not forced to do it. So in the end, it would
Even
be,
if it gets lumped in with this 7 and 3 together into this.
it's part of the project, but the village, it's part of 10 acres. They
Uh-huh.
have 7 acres
Mhm.
approximately.
Yes.
And we have 3 acres, and they've included that in their project, but the board in the end would have to make the decision if they would sell those 3 acres to the developer.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's asked our new council whether it being put under a zoning amendment with the other 7 and being put under seeker review also moves it along in a different way and makes it come along with different assumptions.
Lisa, we're not here to make that decision tonight. We're one thing and one thing only, and that is to become the lead agency of this project.
I know,
We've been
but
advised by multiple council
Mhm.
that is our responsibility, that we have to vote to circulate the notice to become lead agency for this project. Once that kicks off, there's a million questions. Like you said, questions haven't been answered. There's a ton of questions that haven't been answered yet because the process hasn't started. As soon as it starts, all of those comments that you've had these past couple of weeks,
Mhm.
we're going to gather them all up, we'll all come together, and I'm sure there's a million more questions out there, but the process has to begin. It
Okay.
hasn't started yet.
That's fine. I still am very hesitant with it's a process to get out of it, which is something that you said one time, that it is a process to remove ourselves from this once it starts going forward. David said that,
Oh,
Cooper.
okay, I'm sorry.
And our lawyer also said other things, that they have their day at the podium. There's just, please make sure that your understanding about getting out of it is correct.
All right, we'll be asking those questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it.
Hi, Tanya Drezick, Buchanan resident. I guess there's a paper road that gets triggered if the Buchanan Executive Park reaches a certain square footage. And what you're planning to do is the building is going to be right where that's supposed to be, the road. The original agreement of the approval of the BEP and the Village of Buchanan requires, it's not optional, that Greentown Road be extended through to Broadway at a point in time when the total square footage of the buildings exceeds 155,000 square feet. This building is in the BEP. So if you build it, it's going to trigger that road. Okay? And now our lawyer's not here, Mr. Blanchard. And clearly in the video, he says he did a land disposition agreement on behalf of the developer in Mount Vernon, and he pointed to them. And we were buying a building, you know, a Mount Vernon building. So I don't understand how he misspoke. That's like pretty clear. So how is he not in, it's not a conflict?
Do you have that email? Do I only
I
have
do
it?
not have that email on me.
He responded by email and I didn't memorize it. What he said was, he was representing a developer in Rye. No, a developer, not this developer. And Mr. Cooper, Attorney Cooper, was counsel for the city of Rye,
It was-
right?
Yeah.
No?
No, new show? You like me?
Yeah.
I would love to hear.
It's in an email. I got it today, so.
No, I believe it was Mount Vernon. So my firm, I myself actually don't work on the Mount Vernon matter, but my
Oh,
partner,
he said.
Brad Schwartz, does. I mean, you know, whatever, Zarin and Steinmetz does serve as special counsel to the city of Mount Vernon. And Mark may have been on a matter where his client was in an LDA with the city of Mount Vernon, but that's not this client and there's nothing to do with this,
Right.
but no. I don't know what the name of the project was, but that's.
The 21 story. It wasn't on the 21 story.
I don't work on that matter.
Okay, just asking.
All right.
He said,
Got one more question on this.
Can we circle back? Because Tanya, you finished because you had a minute. Yeah. Okay, you're done. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Hey everybody, Carla Thompson, 225 Ketchum Avenue. Something the attorney said caught my attention. I just have a question, and truly a question, not even a commentary. Again, the time has passed when we're the 30 days when they were supposed to have an answer, and he said well within his rights to go to the state and request the state make an action. But my understanding is occasionally, because I've seen it in other towns, that the state can then, and please, everybody correct me if I am incorrect, the state can step in and say, you know what? This fits other requirements. We'd actually like this property for other things. Either the state or the county can step in and overstep either you guys as developers, you as the board, whomever it is. Does that sound familiar to anybody that the state can be like, or the county can be like, actually, we're going to utilize this, we're thinking about utilizing this property for other services or methods or housing or whatever it might be.
I believe in New York State, it's called hometown rule. No, not
Not
according
in
to
the
that. That's a whole different thing. Okay. I said I believed, I didn't say I did. Okay, I'm not sure if the state can demand different things on properties that the village board is in control of when they take lead agency. I'm not sure if they would be able to direct the village to do something different. So I think I know what you're asking.
This board is, she was,
sorry.
no, please.
I don't even know what the question is, but are you asking whether
Questioning like whether or not.
DEC, if they took over, because we
Yeah.
just put that through.
Exactly. Yes, that's in reference to
And
what
they
he
said,
was-
we'll be lead agents.
Yes.
Because nobody else.
And then they say, actually, we're thinking we'd rather this property be utilized for other things.
No,
or to be
I
not.
mean,
Yeah.
I I don't know that for a fact.
Oh, okay.
I can't imagine that we have a project, they're only coming in as lead agency
Yeah.
for this project, that they'd say, yeah, throw that one out, I'd rather this.
Because his commentary on we don't want the state coming in, I'm curious why that would be the commentary. And that's the only thing I could think, unless there was something else that you were specifically referring to. It sounded slightly ominous. No?
Okay.
Okay, you're good.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We're still on comments from the floor with agenda items.
Just a couple quick questions for the board. How many new officers is this going to require?
We don't know. We have to do study. The studies have to be done.
What's the net tax outcome of the project?
We don't know. Studies have to be done.
And that's exactly why the next step has to be taken. We are buying a house without ever seeing a real estate agent or visiting the city we're buying a house in. We have no information as to what the traffic implications or anything will be. And we need to take that next step in order to get the information. We're hearing we're going to need 2 cops. We're going to need this, that, and the other thing. And that's just not factual data. And once, Mr. Smith, I have to say that I'm mad at you because I did the research tonight. You gave half of what I was going to say in your little spiel. So
My apologies.
no problem. But until we get to that next step and we get all the factual matter, all we're talking about is hearsay. We're spreading rumors about what's going to happen. We're making up numbers. So I just can ask the board to vote tonight to move the process in the correct direction for the village. This way we can pack up the tents, the circus can move on, and we can work with actual factual data.
I have, the board knows this, I have contacted DCJS, the Department of Criminal Justice in the state of New York. They are behind, as they have told me, to do an audit on the police department. So that will be happening. Okay. Yes, sir.
Rich Cooper said about bringing the DEC, EPA in here and all that stuff. Welcome them in. You got contaminated soil. The DEC, your EAF already shows there's issues over there. Wetlands, contamination. The piece of paper I gave you guys from the EPA tracker shows all stuff. Doesn't tell you exactly what it is. You can say, no, we don't want to be the agency. You're going to put us in a financial hole. If that place comes so contaminated, it could become a Superfund site. It's backed up to Indian Point. Nobody knows what's dumped in the 1960s. People like Mr. Wheeler worked here. He has an idea what's over there. He did many years here. He knows. So voting for this thing. And Mr. Sorry, I can't see your name. Oh, Smith, you're not a lawyer. The question here is, did the town of Cortland chime in on this thing? Did the city of Peekskill chime in on this thing? Aren't they supposed to? Is that what you said?
Well, they haven't had an opportunity to yet.
So when they get the opportunity, because you have an EAF
After
already.
the vote tonight.
Right. And then we'll
Right.
circulate.
Right, which should not happen because you don't have your lawyer here to answer legitimate questions by the residents who are paying for that man's bill. You're not paying for it. We're all paying for it as a whole. We pay for this thing as a whole. So when somebody put the
Just to
certificates
correct you,
here,
we met with our council last week. Everybody here met with the council last week?
Yes.
We all met with council with the attorney last week. We're advised accordingly.
so I can tell the people out here exactly what he said to the tape. Can you do that?
We absolutely must vote in favor to take lead agency on this application,
And why?
to circulate it,
Why?
because it's written in the code as such.
But you can say no because then you just got to take it to the DEC. You have an opportunity to say no,
Cannot say no.
but he just said it would go up to the DEC.
We're voting on the intent.
But it's been said
That-
several times,
Yeah.
we cannot say no.
All-
Let the process begin so we can hear what the developers have to say and bring in the data
Okay.
to answer all the questions that have been asked.
So I got a question, Mr. Lynch, if you don't mind, real quick. Why does it have to be a 5-story, not a 4-story? Is that because of the new change of codes? And why do you can't build something on your own 7 acres?
Yeah.
That is a big question here. You're giving him land or going to give him land. Why can't he build within the 7 acres?
Well, the board still has to determine if that land is going to be given to the project.
And it's not.
Understand, but the question, legit questions are asked and there's never answers, it seems like. That's all.
Process has to start.
And I just
Okay.
can't something because I
Oh.
started something last week
Okay.
and I have to get some pictures that go with
And
that.
thank you for mentioning about that road that comes through the 155,000 square feet. I forgot. So Mr. Bell, that's what you were talking about. That would trigger that other
I
road.
gave you were from the letter, okay, because this is showing that the 5th person that's not here, how can he be lead agent when he broke code of ethics
This is not,
violations?
number one, this is not an agenda item.
It's an agenda for him to vote on this.
Your discussion right now is not on the agenda.
He vote on it.
All right, so I'm just going to make a statement because we've been talking about this. So under village law, we have to vote to be lead agency this evening. It is mandatory for the village board to be lead agency. The completed petition was submitted on June 18th. So tonight is an administrative process. If the board did not want this project, they needed to speak up when the project was originally presented, and we didn't do that. And what also had happened, I know there were some board members that wanted to ask more questions, more questions, more questions. So we have gone beyond the time of the original presentation. And for those who have asked for a moratorium, we're beyond that at this point. And I have spoken to legal counsel about this, and that's how it is. So yes, ma'am.
My name is Paula Chacon Paul. I live in Albany Post Road. I understand everything that's going on here, and I don't understand everything that's going on here because nothing is truly, answers are not being given to us and everything's not being explained like we should. I don't see transparency, and I'm not hearing the answers. My thing is, as I said it in the last meeting, please hear us out. We, the residents, we, the people, want what's best for this village because we live here. We pay taxes here. We don't want to pay extra taxes and have all this going on. If you can just please hear us out, let's talk peacefully. Let's talk respectfully to each other. Let's hear what everyone has to say. And please answer our questions because our questions are not being answered. And that puts a strain. That makes us question everything. You know, please don't rush this. Let's think about it. Like I said it before, let's see what happens. We already have the AMS project and we have the Carbone going on. Why can't we wait to make a decision until after all of that building is filled up? We really are going to see the traffic, not a traffic study. We're going to see the actual traffic, the actual impact on our village with what AMS and the Carbone property. Let's see what happens with that before we jump in and make huge decisions about huge development. Can't we first see what's going to happen with that before we jump? Before we take the last bit of land that we have here to preserve nature, the environment, the trees, our oxygen, less pollution. We're talking about a lot coming here, which is going to cost extra strain, not only probably our taxes, as we have to pay extra, I'm sure, it's going to cost strain on the school system, strain on our sewer system, strain on our water system, strain on our electric, which might break. So let's first see after Carbone is done building his property, after Carbone fills his property, let's see the true impact of the already development that has been approved. And then we can see, hey, this is working. Hey, maybe we can add more. Maybe this was a good thing to have AMS and the Carbone, and hey, this is benefiting us, or hey, this is not benefiting us. This is causing a lot of congestion. This is causing some more extra crime in the area. You know, like, let's please not rush this. Like I said it before, please, let's just think about it. Let's truly think about it. I understand that right now you have to be lead agency, even though our lawyer is not here, but let's just please take the time. Let's do the full review and see what happens with the already development that is going on here. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
Dan Stewart, 211 Tate Avenue, former trustee. Mayor, just to correct you on one item you just said recently, a couple minutes ago. When this project did come to the board the first time, I sat on the board. And I distinctly said, I think we need to pump our brakes and not move forward on it. So I did speak out against this project. Okay. Now, in regards to the land use lawyer, he absolutely should have been here tonight. That's all I've got to say.
And Dan, I have spoken out against this project and gotten myself in quite a bit of trouble. And I spoke out against this project during the election before. So it's not against the developer. I'm in general I agree with Paula, what Paula was saying. Let's slow down, see what happens. So I'm sure I'm going to get myself in trouble again tonight, but I have to speak the truth. I have to tell my truth. But I did speak out against this project. And during the election, I talked about no more large apartment buildings.
And those were my exact feelings. I said, I think we need to pump the brakes, see where we're going here from a perspective of these two projects finishing without even seeing what we've got ahead of us.
We agree, agreed. But we're beyond that point, unfortunately. Okay, Lisa, and then that's it. Okay. Is this in reference to the, Lisa's, this is to the agenda? Okay, all right, go ahead.
Okay. As far as transparency, have a major problem with that. This whole issue of the lawyer on behalf of the developer sent in this project on June 18th. Then someone on our staff put it in a folder. Is that what counts as accepted? Like there doesn't seem to have been very much transparency here because it was accepted before if that's the case and just putting it in the developments folder on the website, if that was what is accepted and getting this letter on June 18th, then that means all of this was done before the villagers had any chance to respond to even the initial presentation. The initial presentation was June 23rd. The village people that came to the meeting before that spoke against it. We have had very few people speaking for it. So I still am very hazy on what counted as accepted, because to my knowledge, I don't know, did you guys, there isn't anything in the folder that is an acceptance letter or a letter that says, we accept this, we talked it over, we accept. There was no acceptance just because a letter was mailed to us about partially our property. Because of that, our land has to go under seeker review. Doesn't seem that that's a very clear process. And if there's something to that process that I'm missing, I would love for someone to explain it to me. But how does that count as accept? It was submitted, it was filed. Who then told anyone to start working with them before it was really accepted in some type of official manner? Because I don't see that it was. And if it's not accepted in an official manner, I go back to nothing against the developer and nothing against the owner of their land. But we have land we have to make decisions on. We are asking for a moratorium. Hardly anyone has gotten up and spoken in favor of this. A few people have, and a few people have been neutral. That's it. An overriding majority of people have spoken up that we want to push the brakes, do a moratorium. This is on our website. Elected officials are accountable to their community for the decisions they make. Also, employees are responsible for implementing those decisions. We are telling you we want a moratorium. That's what we're asking for. And before anything goes further, that should be the case. So I have other points to discuss that are non-agenda. Thank you.
You got that, Cindy? Nice. I heard to talk quick. All right, welcome board. I'm here again. I'm Robert Lupika from 169 Cortlandt Street. I was here at the last board meeting. I was a little confused about how things went on and disappointed. So, Teresa, there's a lot of people in this room that think they're the boss. Aren't you the boss?
Oh, no, I'm not the boss, my dear. I have been told several times. But thank you, though, for the thought.
Well, my opinion is
we are elected officials. We have elected officials that represent the public.
The village. You work for the village.
Correct.
We all got one vote.
There's
nobody in here that's got more than one vote. We all got one vote. But you're the boss. We elected you to be the boss.
I only have one vote.
I know, but you're the boss.
Well,
you're the mayor, and we need somebody to lead.
I've been told by the board, actually, I've been told by the board, I'm only one vote.
Yes.
So if there's three votes.
Yeah, but you need the lead.
But
I'm talking about what goes on here. The circus that went on here.
No,
Somebody's
no.
got to lead that.
It wasn't a circus.
Oh, it was, it
Oh, no,
was.
it was a circus after Anthony Capitani.
No.
Oh, yes, it was.
So you get a
The
person that comes
resident-
up.
So you have a problem with residents speaking out?
No, I got a problem
No,
with somebody
you do.
coming up and
You do.
saying, you are guilty. I'm the judge, the jury, and now the executioner.
Oh, me?
No, the lady who spoke last time about Anthony said he was a criminal. He's taken. Is he been
Listen.
convicted? She
We-
said he was on the take. She said that.
I don't remember.
She said
I
that.
don't.
You're getting paid off. You're
I don't
getting
remember
paid
that.
off. You're getting paid off.
Okay.
Listen to the. Oh, yeah, she said
Okay,
that. So let me-
okay, listen.
There has to be some control.
We're gonna talk this through.
Yeah, I know.
We're
I'm
not
just
gonna
saying,
get- We're
you're
gonna
the
get
boss.
emotional here,
Lead
but.
what goes
okay.
on. So.
All right, I'm
let's
not
talk
sure how this is on
So
the
I'm talking
agenda.
about our affordability here.
Bobby,
What?
this is an agenda item stop here, okay?
Yes.
This has to stop now.
So we're talking about
This has to
affordability.
stop. Get to
What?
your point, please.
What?
Do you have an agenda?
Yes, I have an agenda. I want
Okay,
to talk
all
about
right.
affordability.
Then let's go there.
I want to
Okay.
talk about the cessation fund. Right now, it's up with the governor.
Correct.
It's not even on her desk. It hasn't been
Correct.
signed, but that's $225,000.
No, that's going to be
200
100, that's,
233,000
that's the last, okay, so if it gets
Yes.
approved,
if it gets
It's
approved.
5 years.
Five more
But
years.
not 200 and something thousand. I don't have it in front of me.
233. That's on their website.
But that's our final loss.
No,
So-
it's 20%. Each of these years right now is 20%.
But our last one was,
No, all these years right now are 20%.
I think it was 165, our
It's
last one.
all 20%. And it's at 233,
I don't have it in front of me.
233,000.
Okay,
And if
all right.
he doesn't approve of it,
33.
then we as the village has to
Correct.
pay for that 233.
Correct.
So
Correct.
how are we going to compensate that? What are we doing to offset these costs? Also, the sewer plant. What is the cost to fix the sewer plant?
It's $11 million.
$11 million. Where are we
At
getting
this
$11 million?
Right, we have several.
Oh, why not?
Okay, I'm going to answer it.
I know, but
There
have-
are several grants we have received. We are short
Couple million.
1.5 million at
Yes.
this time.
Yes.
But that's an approximate because once we put in the bids, it could be lower. We don't know. So
We
that's
still have costs.
1.5.
We have costs that we need
We
to
have
incur.
cost every day
I
here.
talked about
Every day we
I'm at
go through the door.
50,000. My village tax
It's
is up 10
115.
times. 10 times my village tax in 23 years. 10 times. What's it going to be
Bob, I
in
have
another
never,
5 years or 10 years?
none of
How
us
can
want,
we afford to live here if we keeps on going up?
none of us can afford to live here. But let's go back to the school again. You know, the village tax is one thing.
Yes.
But the school
And
is a whole
that's
other
a
thing,
town
and nobody
building.
fights over
That's the
that.
town of Portland, and he's doing nothing to offset
Well,
that.
That's the school.
I realize
And
that.
that's
but
our big bun.
But my school tax
But I
hasn't gone up
understand.
as much as my village tax.
Well, we lost our largest
Oh,
employer,
I
our
know
largest
we did.
taxpayer. I know that, Bob. And you know what? The taxes always go up. Nobody wants to pay more tax. I don't either.
When we
I don't
plan
either.
for retirement, we don't start a couple days before or a couple years before. I started 32 years ago.
Your time is up.
Okay.
Thank you,
But
though.
we gotta,
Yeah, I got a plan for the future. I got you. I got you. Thank you, Bob. Okay, are we good? Can we move into the meeting now?
Yeah.
I appreciate all your comments. Thank you. Okay, so, Mr. Comey, are you still with us?
Yeah, let me give him a call. His mic is
Okay,
working.
so this is just a quick update. So we have been working on the cell tower. It seems like the cell tower reception here in the village is just getting worse and worse. There's certain parts of the village that have no cell tower reception. So we have been working on putting in a cell tower, and I do want to clarify something. I have been accused of picking this place where it's going to be placed. So let me just review with everyone. When this first came about, we had a different cell tower provider that was going to come in to build a cell tower for us. So the original thought was way behind the baseball field where we dump our leaves and it's way in the back. So the developer looked at the site, did some testing and said that the cell tower had to be put where it was put because it needs power to work. So where it's going is going to be near a power line. So that's why I did not pick the site. The developer had picked it. The developer working with us at this time is also okay for that site. So I just wanted to clarify that. Mr. Comey, are you with us?
Okay.
Okay. So tonight let me make a motion. I'm sorry. let me make a motion to open the public hearing, amending Chapter 211, Article 13, entitled Communication Towers and Personal Wireless Facilities, to repeal certain regulations and to waive other requirements, and amend Section 211, Schedule of Use Regulations, to allow communication towers on village-owned land in the R40 district. Okay, Mr. Comey, we are ready for you. So can I have a second? All in favor? Okay, the public hearing is open.
So Richard, give the board an update where we stand and answer any questions, I guess. Go ahead, Richard.
Tonight, taking a look at,
Hold on, Richard, you gotta mute yourself for a second, okay, when you're speaking, we're getting feedback.
Can't mute himself.
You can't get in
Yeah.
on Zoom.
I've been trying for half an hour to try to get on. Richard, can you hear me?
yes,
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Try to lower the volume on the computer when you speak. That way we'll get feedback.
I'll lower the volume on my cell phone.
No, that's no good.
Yeah, you stay.
There was a question. Okay, Marcus, you speak to him and then relay it to us. There was a question. There was a question from a resident about the safety of the cell tower, considering there was a ball field there and there were residents. And so we kind of need to answer that question that a resident brought up.
Okay, I'm gonna try to repeat your answer, Richard. Did you hear that question?
To the RF emissions issues that are covered under our review of the facility when the application comes in. Anything over 10 meters off the ground is unequivocally exempt from the review because it cannot impact the standards of emissions that are required. So we will be reviewing this. We will make sure that it meets the federal standards on RF emissions, and we'll utilize whatever is necessary in terms of documentation to make sure that is acceptable.
He can hear you. I don't want to repeat it.
Did everyone hear that? Okay. So what they do is they make sure that it meets federal standards on emissions. And they will inform us of what their studies come up to be. And so I guess until we get into the process, we won't know what that number will be. And if it doesn't meet federal standards, then we are
They have to modify. They have to modify.
either modify it, or worst case scenario, which I don't want to see because the village desperately needs a cell tower. We're going to have to scrap it or find another place for it.
Mhm. Correct.
The cell tower, the cell usage here in the village, the reason how this started is the police department and the fire department notified me that there were certain spots in the village that there was no communication, there was no cell use. So this is how this whole ball started rolling. And then people are complaining more and more, especially in certain areas of the village, they have no cell service. Does Mr. Comey want to say anything else, or any of the board
Richard,
members want to
anything?
ask him anything?
Mayor said, do you want to add anything else?
Standing that the changes to the local law number 4 and 5 are going to be approved so that the facility can start its application review, which we will do, make sure it's complete before it goes to the planning board for action.
Okay. So he said the changes to the local law, the facility, with the changes to the local law that we're voting on this evening, the facility can start an application for review and go before the planning board.
Correct. Yeah. You got it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, since it's a public hearing, anyone in the audience, would you, yes, sir.
Dan Stewart, 211 Tate Avenue again. Just what is the turnaround time to get this cell tower actually up and operational? Because I have no cell phone service at my house, none.
Getting worse.
So Richard, the question would be, after the planning board possibly approved the application, how long before the cell tower is up? Hold on a second, put you on speaker. Go, Richard.
From the time we received the application, which I have been told is hopefully before the end of August, we will turn around our comments in less than 30 days. And assuming the information is complete at that time, it can go to the planning board with our recommendation, and then the construction can begin.
So the question would be, how long for construction?
The construction is not a long period of time. It's normally just a few weeks.
A few weeks, and it's completed, the construction of the tower?
Well, yeah. So just for everybody's point of view, okay, take that off. If we go to the planning board has at least two meetings, a regular meeting and a public hearing. Depending how the public hearing goes, it could be adjourned to another meeting, or it could be approved at a second meeting. So that takes a 2-month process. And if it takes 2 months, then the construction can begin after that.
And this is after the application.
Yeah, so you're talking about these 3 or 4 months.
About a 6 to 8 month process.
Correct.
So possibly construction can start, best case scenario, the end of this year.
It depends on the weather conditions.
Yeah, and then we get into weather.
Yeah, if it gets into the winter, they won't be able to do it. Correct.
Okay. So,
You got that, Richard? Okay, you got it.
all right, we're good? We're good. Okay. If there are no other comments, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I will read the resolution. What? Where a resolution was duly adopted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan for a public hearing to be held by said village board at the municipal building, 236 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, to hear all interested parties on a proposed local law amending Chapter 211, Article 13, entitled Communications Towers and Personal Wireless Facilities to the Code of the Village of Buchanan. And whereas notice of said public hearing was duly advertised in the official local newspaper, and whereas said public hearing was duly held at a regularly scheduled meeting of the village board on May 5th, 2026, and continued on June 2nd, 2026, July 7th, 2026, and August 4th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at the municipal building, 236 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, New York. And all parties in attendance were permitted an opportunity to speak on behalf or in opposition to said proposed local law or any part thereof. And whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan, after due deliberation, finds it in the best interest of the Village of Buchanan to adopt said local law, now be it therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan hereby adopt said local law 4-2026, amending Chapter 211, Article 13 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan, a copy of which is attached hereto and made part of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting and a local law book of the Village of Buchanan, and give due notice to the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of the State of New York. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is a resolution to adopt local law number 5, amending the use table of Chapter 21110. So whereas a resolution was duly adopted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan for a public hearing to be held by said village board and municipal building, 236 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, to hear all interested parties on a proposed local law amending the use table of Chapter 21110 entitled Zoning to the Code of the Village of Buchanan, and whereas notice of said public hearing was duly advertised in the official local newspaper, and whereas said public hearing was duly held at a regularly scheduled meeting of the Village Board on July 7th, 2026, August 4th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 236 State Avenue, Buchanan, New York, and all parties in attendance were permitted an opportunity to speak on on behalf or opposition to said proposed local law. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan, after due deliberation, finds it in the best interest of the Village of Buchanan to adopt said local law. Now be it therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan hereby adopts said local law number 5, 2026, amending the use table of Chapter 21110 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan, a copy of which is attached here too and made part of this resolution. And what I'd like to, it's not in here, but this would allow District R40 under uses permitted by right. And it allows cell towers on land owned by the Village of Buchanan in R40. So that's to answer a question a resident had when we were coming up in the elevator. Be it further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting and the local law book of the Village of Buchanan, and to give due notice of the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of the State of New York. And can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Richard, I think we're done. Thank
Yeah,
you so much
we're
for
done.
attending.
Okay, the next is, there's two parts this evening. This is a resolution declaring lead agency status for proposed zoning text and map amendments to create new zoning designations, WD waterfront development and WD overlay, industrial overlay for the properties located on the west side of Broadway. We have been discussing this on and off for quite a while. And I don't know, Dave, if you would like to just do a quick overview on this for the audience.
Okay, so the last time that we discussed this matter, I think was in your June work session. And to provide you with an update, you're right, this process has been going on for quite a while. There's proposed zoning map and text amendments for the properties west of Broadway, including the former Indian Point site, Certainty site, and Lens Cove. The circulation of the materials occurred, I want to say, a year and a half or so ago, with your notice of intent to act as lead agency. That was circulated to a number of different agencies, including Westchester County, your planning board, New York State, the city of Peekskill, a number of other agencies. Your planning board and the Westchester County came back with some comments on the materials, but neither of them objected to your board acting as the lead agency. So at some point, your board needs to declare themselves lead agency. So that's what the purpose of the meeting is for tonight for this particular issue. Whether you feel comfortable scheduling a public hearing, that's up to you. But at the bare minimum, it would just be from a seeker standpoint, procedurally, just to declare yourself to be the lead agency, having heard no objections from the other interested or involved agencies.
And I'm glad to see Town of Cortland was included in that.
Yes.
Because we've had different issue with them, with their receiving of it, but they have received it.
Yes, they have it.
Any comments from the
And
board?
This would amend our zoning map, so the entire M1 district would then become C1, C2.
No.
But it's all overlay?
No. The M2 district, the properties west of Broadway would be rezoned to a waterfront development district, which would allow for mixed use, residential, commercial. And then based on the input that I got from your board, there's a separate waterfront development overlay that applies to the Certainty property that allows them to remain as a permitted principal use under the zoning code. So that's the way the zoning has been structured.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
other questions or no? Okay. Whereas the Village of Buchanan is a duly incorporated village in the state of New York and under New York State Village Law and the Village Board of Trustees, the Village Board is a responsible entity for amending the village code and zoning map. And whereas the given recent closing, well, it's 5 years now, closing and ongoing decommissioning of the former Indian Point Energy, IPAC, the village is desirous of providing the opportunity for redevelopment that is in keeping with recent development trends for similar Hudson River waterfronts located within the Hudson River Valley. Whereas the village board has commissioned the drafting of a proposed zoning text and map amendments that would allow for a reimagined waterfront or would otherwise permit an existing industrial use to continue to operate for their properties located west of the Broadway, the proposed action. Whereas the village board has discussed the proposed zoning amendments during regularly scheduled meetings, whereas Article 12, Section 211-53 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan provides for the process and procedures for amendments to the village zoning code, and a draft of the proposed zoning amendments along with other supporting documentation has been prepared for public review and comment. Whereas the village board under Section 700 of the New York State Village Law and Article 1221-53 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan is a duly authorized legislative body that has the authority to approve the proposed zoning amendment. Whereas after review of the proposed action, the village board acknowledged that there are other interested and involved agencies as those terms are defined under the SECRA, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or Part 617 of New York State CRR, that should be notified of the village board's intent to act as lead agency, and the village board did circulate a notice of intent to act as lead agency using all due diligence to the following: the Village of Buchanan Planning Board, Town of Cortland, City of Peekskill, Buchanan Fire District, Verplank Fire District, Westchester County, because it's in the Verplank Fire District, that side of the road, Westchester County Department of Health, Westchester County Department of Planning, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, New York State Department of State, and the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And Holtec is also included in this? Or
They can be provided a copy. They're
Please.
they're a stakeholder, just like Certainty would, they would be provided a copy.
Okay.
Yes.
Whereas the village board did receive comments back from the Village of Buchanan Board, Planning Board, and the Westchester County Planning Board, neither of which objected to the village board assuming the role of lead agency under SECRA, and the village board did also receive comments from one of the affected property owners within the proposed area to be rezoned. Now therefore be resolved that hearing no objections, the village board does hereby declare themselves to be the lead agency under SECRA and to conduct a coordinated review, and be it further resolved that the village board does hereby schedule a public hearing on the proposed action to be held at the Village Hall, 236 State Avenue, on Tuesday, September 1st, 2026 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as possible, and that a copy of this resolution with notice of public hearing be circulated to all known, interested, and involved parties. And be it further resolved that the contents of the proposed action have been posted on the Village of Buchanan website, and that any correspondence on this matter be directed to the Village Administrator's Office, 236 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, New York. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have another resolution declaring notice of intent to act as lead agency for proposed zoning map amendments from the M1 district to the C2 district to the C1, C2 overlay. This is for the property on 501 Broadway. Any comments or questions from the board? Oh, you're all ready. See that? So we kind of have discussed it with the residents this evening. We're at a point here where the board is, by law, I understand, has to vote to be lead agency. It's mandatory for the village board to be lead agency for this project. So once again, for those that had asked for a moratorium, we're beyond that at this point. I don't know what else to say. So I guess I'm going to read the resolution. Whereas on or about June 18th, 2026, Representatives Landy Associates did submit a facially complete petition to the Village Buchanan Board of Trustees for an amendment to the zoning map of the Village Buchanan from M1 District to the C2 District and the C1, C2 Overlay Zoning District, along with required special permit, subdivision, and site plan approval, collectively with the proposed zoning map amendments, the proposed action. Whereas Article 12, Section 21153 of the Village Code of Buchanan provides for the process and procedures for amendments to the village zoning code, and the applicant has provided a draft of proposed zoning amendments along with other supporting documentation. And whereas on June 23rd, 2026, July 7th, 2026, and August 4th, 26, regularly scheduled meetings of the village board, the board did review and discuss the proposed action. Whereas the village board under section 700 of New York State Village Law and Article 12 to 1153, the Code of the Village of Buchanan is the only duly authorized legislative body that has the authority to approve the proposed zoning map amendments, and by the village code, the only entity to approve the required special permit and plan. Whereas after review of the petition, the village board acknowledges that there are other interested involved agencies, as those terms are defined under the SECRA Act, that should be notified of the village board's intent to act as lead agency. Now therefore be resolved, the village board pursuant to Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, the CEQA, Part 617 of the General Regulations adopted pursuant Part 617, and hereby determines that the proposed action is subject to a SECRA and is a Type 1 action. Be further resolved that the agencies identified by the EAF in using all due diligence are interested or involved agencies for the proposed action and should provide a copy of this notice of intent to act as lead agency. So Village of Buchanan Planning Board, Town of Cortland, City of Peekskill, Westchester County Department of Health, Westchester County Department of Planning, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. Be it further resolved that the village board hereby directs that a lead agency coordination notice be circulated among interested and involved agencies together with copies of proposed zoning map amendment, the EAF, and such other information as appropriate indicating the village board's intent to assume the role of lead agency for the action under SECRA, Part 617, and that no more than 30 days comment on the board's intent to act as lead agency and any correspondence on this matter be directed to the village administrator's office, 236 State Avenue, Buchanan, New York. So, can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 You know, and I'm sorry, Mr. Cooper, I know you had asked for a full board. You had asked for a full board. Where is Anthony on vacation? Okay, so, but we didn't have a full board this evening. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that before.
Well, you've already passed the resolution, so it's okay.
Yeah, but it does, yeah, you have your 3 votes,
Yeah,
so.
So,
Do you have any other comments?
that's it. Okay. All
That's
right.
it.
Thank you very much.
So the process begins. So, so the next is a resolution for an intermunicipal agreement with Westchester County for solid waste and recyclables disposal. This is something that is done. We've done this before. We need to have a place for our recyclables to be disposed of, so we have an agreement with Westchester County. Whereas the Village of Buchanan has, in the past, entered into an intermunicipal agreement with the County of Westchester for the disposal of solid waste and recyclables. And whereas the intermunicipal agreement between the Village of Buchanan and the County of Westchester for the disposal of solid waste and the recyclables is hereby amended to extend the term commencing retroactively on October 22nd, 2024 through October 21, 2029, unless terminated earlier. And whereas under the Second Amendment, the tip fee for solid waste rate shall be subject to an annual adjustment factor equal to the consumer price index each year that the IMA remains in effect. Whereas this agreement provides a distinct benefit to the Village of Buchanan and is therefore necessary to extend and renew the above-mentioned agreement. Now be it therefore resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute said intermunicipal agreement. Be it further resolved that the village administrator is hereby authorized to transmit the executed agreement to the Westchester County Department of Environmental Facilities for signature by the appropriate official. Okay, that's kind of self-explanatory. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. The next is an award to for the sludge removal contract. So on July 30th, 2026, 3 bids for the reference project were received and publicly read aloud at the Village Hall. So this is the sludge from the sewer treatment plant. This is something we do yearly or every other year. It depends on what the agreement was. As requested, we have reviewed the bids. So our engineer is saying the bids are reviewed and the site is located at 10 George Greentown Road, Village of Buchanan. The work to be done under this contract identified as sewage plant sludge removal comprises the removal, transportation, disposal of approximately 1,500,000 gallons of sludge from the holding tank of the village sewer treatment plant and 5 sewage pump station wet wells. So the lowest bidder was Fred A. Cook, and the amount is $193,500. The other bidders were, quite a bit more. SpectraServe $315, and Wind River Environmental was $322. So we will accept the lowest bidder of Fred Cook. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There's 2 items, so I'd like to make a motion to deem the following items as surplus: a 15 horsepower Mako breathing air compressor and a Royal electronic cash register. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is a motion to approve Amira Centex as a probationary active member of the Buchanan Engine Company. That's good. We have another new member coming in. So I'd like to make a motion to second that. Goodbye, Dave. It was nice seeing you. All right, take care. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to approve the probationary active member. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right. The next is a resolution appointing a police officer, Officer Buddy, who has served the village, oh my gosh, many, many years. We all know Officer Buddy. He's retiring on August 14th. So we have interviewed, the chief has interviewed the new person, the new police officer. And tonight we're doing a resolution appointing the police officer. Whereas there's a vacancy in the village police department, and whereas Chief of Police Shane Farrell has previously interviewed several candidates for the position, whereas the village board has met with the recommended candidate, and whereas the current candidate is already appointed permanently as a police officer in the New York City Department of Environmental Protection Police and is willing to transfer to the village of Buchanan. Whereas Jesse Ryan has successfully completed a background investigation and medical evaluation has been approved by the Westchester County Civil Service. Now therefore be resolved that Jesse Ryan of Montrose is hereby appointed as police officer in the Village of Buchanan Police Department contingent on passing all other hiring requirements of the village. The starting salary will be $112,916. All other benefits are set pursuant to negotiated Buchanan Police Benevolent Association collective bargaining agreement, with the exception of vacation, which is 20 days. Be it further resolved that said Jesse Ryan shall arrange for the resignation and reinstatement of his civil service status to the Village of Buchanan, and be it further resolved that the hiring of said officer is subject to the terms and condition of the village's collective bargaining agreement with the Federation of Police and any memorandums of understanding thereunder. So can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to extend the employment of a recreation attendant that has been a very good employee, and she has been asked to stay on until the end of the summer for 2 hours a day to do cleaning duties at the village pool. And her pay will be $18 an hour. And the name again, Cindy, so I get this right. Rosa Arroyo. So thank you. So can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So the next one I'm going to read, I will tell you ahead of time, I have to recuse myself on this. But before I read this, I would like to clarify something. This is a resolution authorizing a formal request to the Westchester County Board of Ethics for an advisory opinion regarding an ethics complaint against the village mayor filed by the project developer. So what I'd like to clarify before I read this is during the election, I had stated several times and on the campaign literature that I was for smart development, not large apartment buildings. This was done before the developers put in their application. This is not personal against the developer. There's many unknowns to the buildings that we already have. I was being honest with the developer, and so much for honesty. This is what I campaigned on, and this is what I believe. So let me read this. Whereas the Village of Buchanan Code of Ethics established under Chapter 7 of the Village Code mandates that all village officers, including elected officials, maintain public trust and perform their duties impartially. And whereas a formal ethics complaint has been filed with the village clerk by a current developer alleging that the village mayor has publicly spoken out against the developer's pending project. And whereas the complaint alleges that these public statements constitute impermissible prejudgment, bias, and a violation of the standards of conduct expected of an executive official overseeing municipal development process. Whereas because the complaint directly targets the executive leadership of the village, an internal adjudication, thank you, review or dismissal of this matter by the village board presents an inherent conflict of interest and appearance of impropriety. Whereas New York General Municipal Law, Articles 18, Section 808 explicitly authorize a county board of ethics to review local municipal conflicts and render independent formal advisory opinions to local governing bodies upon official request. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan as follows. Section 1, the remaining unconflicted members of the Village Board of Trustees hereby recuse the mayor from all deliberations, executive sessions, votes, and administrative oversight regarding the specific ethics complaint. The Village Board of Trustees officially requests that the Westchester County Board of Ethics review the attached complaint packet and render a formal written advisory opinion regarding whether the mayor's public statements respect to the development project constitute an impermissible conflict of interest, disqualifying prejudgment of a pending application or a violation of local or state ethics standards. The village clerk is directed to transmit a certified copy of this resolution along with the developer's complaint packet to the Westchester County Board of Ethics located at 148 Maritime Avenue on the 6th floor, White Plains, New York, within 5 business days. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoptions. So everyone knows we do not have an ethics board here in the Village of Buchanan. That ceased to exist many years ago. There was a situation with someone else. The village is too small. The ethics board resigned, and we haven't had an ethics board since then. So I have to recuse myself. So Bob, could you just say all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Recused. I recused myself. Okay. So we have another one. So this is a resolution authorizing a formal request to the Westchester County Board of Ethics for an advisory opinion regarding a multi-layered complaint against the village trustee for conduct and contractual conflicts of interest filed by a resident. Whereas the Village of Buchanan Code of Ethics, established under Chapter 7 of the Village Code, mandates that all village officers maintain a high standard of professional and ethical conduct and give their undivided allegiance to the public trust as outlined in Section 7-2, Declaration of Policy. Whereas a formal complaint has been filed with the village clerk detailing several alleged ethical violations committed by a sitting village trustee during public meetings regarding ongoing municipal projects, and where the complaint alleges hostile public conduct, and whereas the complaint further details statutory conflicts of interest, and whereas the complaint additionally alleges that this sequence of events prevents an appearance of impropriety and a direct violation of Section 7-5E of the Village Code, which mandates that public office and employment is not used for personal gain, and that officials must avoid conflicts when immediate family members have a financial interest. And whereas because the complaint targets a voting member of the legislative branch regarding both code of conduct violations and financial self-dealing, any internal review or peer adjudication, there's my adjudication guy, by the village board represents an unresolvable conflict of interest. And whereas New York General Municipal Law, Article 18, Section 808, authorizes a county board of ethics to render independent advisory opinions to local governing bodies to resolve municipal code conflicts and protect public integrity. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan as follows. Section 1, the remaining unconflicted members of the Village Board of Trustees hereby declare that the subject trustee is completely recused from all deliberations, executive sessions, votes, and administrative oversight regarding this ethics complaint. Number 2, the remaining unconflicted members of the Village Board hereby order that the subject trustee be immediately recused from participating in any future discussions, executive session, or votes regarding the AMS project or associated road contracts pending a final advisory opinion from the county. Section 3, the Village Board of Trustees officially requests that the Westchester County Board of Ethics review the attached complaint packet and render a formal written advisory opinion determining whether the trustees' post-approval contractual ties, corporate associations, and public conduct constitute a violation of local ethical standards under Chapter 7 or New York State General Municipal Law, Article 18. Number 4, the village clerk is directed to transmit a certified copy of this resolution along with a complete complaint packet to the Westchester County Board of Ethics located at 148 Martine Avenue, 6th floor, White Plains, New York, within 5 business days. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is information from officers, justice reports, June 2026. There is one here for $2,526. The next is for $2,875. The police report,
125 total calls, 27 moving summons, and 9 parking summons for the month of June.
okay, thank you. Highway report,
128 tons of household garbage, 2 rounds of metal pickup, and 2 rounds of e-waste collection. The guys have always been busy with the pool, the camp, recreation facilities, doing a lot of road work as well, catch basins, and things like that. So they've been busy in June.
busy time of the year. Wastewater report, treated wastewater, 8,345,000 gallons, sludge removal, 180,000 gallons removed. Just looking this over, there was a pump, one of the pump stations on Valerie Court was rebuilt. Everything looks good over there. Okay, very good. Buchanan Engine, we have, for the month of June, we have, oh, here you are. I'm doing your report, Bob. The EMS Lift Assist 2, Automatic Alarms, Detectors 4, Public Assist or Police Assist 2, Mutual Aid Given 2, Total Alarms 10. The Buchanan Engine Company continues to hand out CO smoke detectors to village residents as requested. And I do have a letter I will read next month from a resident. Buchanan Engine went and helped her at her house to install CO detectors. Buchanan Engine attended 2 parades in the month of June, and with over 60 departments from the Hudson Valley. They're very excited to report that Engine 161, the 2021 Pierce Pumper, was awarded Best Appearing Pumper. Let's see, what do we have, Bob? Building Department, I skipped over you, I'm sorry.
Okay, they issued 23 building permits. There were 18 inspections on file for permits and compliance inspections. There were 21 certificate of occupancies completed. And they also reported the building and site work permits have been issued for the Village Square project, and the building permits was issued for the Gallon Measure project.
All right, thank you. Attorney's report. Do you have anything for us this evening, Stephanie? No? Okay.
All this, all this.
Oh, you've been a little busy. Okay. The only thing I'd like to say right now is I want to thank the Buchanan Beautification Committee. I'm not sure if anyone's had the opportunity. They have done a whole new garden, and it's located out by the back parking lot here near the police station. If you get a chance, please stop by. It looks beautiful. I thank the Buchanan Beautification Committee. They were out there in the heat, weeding out at the circle, and everything looks great, and appreciate them volunteering, making the village look beautiful. Okay, let's start with Awilda, and then we'll go down.
I don't have a comment tonight.
Okay, thank you. Steve, what do you have for us?
Yeah, just to touch upon these ethics investigations. I mean, the really, I believe it's a black eye for this village. You know, 2 wrongs don't make a right for sure. Trustee Capicati was here at the last workshop. He did apologize, you know, but in regards to this ethics violation from Zarin and Steinmetz, you know, Mayor, I know it states in here that you stated you're not for this project in the very, very beginning. And I just want the board, we have to be able to listen to everybody that's out there, whether that's, you know, somebody in the public who's angry and yelling at us or a developer who comes in. We just have to listen to all sides. And I just hope that this is a learning experience for both parties that have this investigation, and we see how it turns out. I also feel like there's a lot of misinformation that's out there. You know, I'm available at all times. If you have any questions, anything, it really touched upon when, you know, I've had to explain at least 4 or 5 times the fact that we have to be the lead agency. I've explained it over and over and over again. It's just in the code. It's not something that we derived. It's not something that we said we want to do. It's not puffing our chest. It's in the code. It's the way it's supposed to be. There was a comment made about the Carbone project coming before this. Carbone project never came before us. It fit within the standards, it went to the planning board, and it never came before this board at all. So I just feel like there's a lot of misinformation. If you have a question, please come to any one of us. We'll be happy to sit down with you, go over it, have a civil conversation. And you know, this vote today, that was only to become the lead agency because by law, we had to. It doesn't start the process. It doesn't say I'm for this project at all. It says I'm for the process because it is a process. I have a ton of questions and I want to hear all those answers by that developer and see whether it's viable or not. This village lost over 50% of its revenue. We have to listen to everybody, whether you like it or not. We have to. We just can't close the door and tell developers go away. We're just not in that position. I don't think the village, you know, can survive if we did that and we turned everybody away. So I just hope that everybody on the board looks to, you know, work with everybody, whether it's a developer, community member, everybody along the way. So thank you.
So Steve, I'd like to ask you, what other misinformation? I hear that word misinformation thrown out there a lot. Those are the only two misinformations that you believe are?
One of the other things had to do with the agency code because, and I brought this up the last time, for me to be questioned as to why I wasn't in favor of the agency code is complete misinformation. And I think anybody on this board will tell you otherwise. I wanted the agency code. I wanted to discuss it, I should say, and I was shut down. But to have a resident come at a meeting and single me out, that's misinformation.
Okay, so we're discussing it now, but I know the resolution of that is that there were some things going on at the fire department that needed to be addressed, and we told them to come back in a year. We would revisit everything. They're on board and on plan now, so we're moving forward with that, and we'll have further discussions with them. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have a conversation this evening, but that never worked out.
For the resident to come and single me out over that was because he got misinformed. Secondly, as far as the project, as far as the applicant here, we didn't approve anything. And so we hear over and over and over again that people on this board are for overdevelopment. Not for overdevelopment, not at all. I'm for listening to everybody.
You know, there is a lot of misinformation out there. I will tell you that. I have been accused of many things. So I will say to you, as Steve has said, I am very easy to find here in the village. If you hear something negative about me, which there's a lot of that goes around, you know, if you hear I made a comment, I said something, I did something, please, I'm not a beast. Come to me and say, Teresa, is that true? I will tell you if it is, and I will tell you why I said that. But for this negativity and this angry and this don't go into her store, it's dirty, it's this, that's terrible. This is 1.3 square miles here. There's 2,400 people. Can't we get along? Why do we have to be so darn nasty? Why? And this has happened in the last 4 years. I have seen us go downhill fast. Can't we talk to one another? Do we always have to fight? Do we always have to accuse this person as nasty? Why? This village has never been like this. And I'll tell you this, the new people moving in, I meet them at the store. They're wonderful. They're wonderful, young families. And I ask them, why did you come here? Just curious, why did you come here? Well, we like the quiet. We like the small town feel. We have young children. We're going to have a family. We want to raise our family here. This looks like a safe place. And you know what I say to them? Welcome. I'm so glad you decided to come here. They're lovely people. I'm just so happy I got to meet so many of them. So this got to stop. This got to stop. If you got a problem with me or anyone on this board, please have the decency to talk to us. Don't badmouth me. Don't badmouth the business. And there were people on this, I don't know who would go in there. Why? I opened that store not to make $1 million. I opened that store in the memory of my mom. And for someone to say nasty things about that, that's sad. That's really sad. Is that what we become here? This is not us, guys. It's got to stop. I don't know what happened, but it's the last 4 years I've seen this. It's got to stop. The anger, the hatred, it's sheer evil. This is not us, okay? Anybody that's lived here for a long time knows that. You don't have to get along with everyone. You don't have to get along with your neighbor. It's okay. But you don't got to have a fist fight with them. You don't have to attack them. You don't have to tell, oh, they're no good. I wouldn't talk to her. What? Let people decide who you are and then judge that way. But to badmouth people? What? That's vicious. No. This got to stop. It's got to stop. And yes, I have said this, and I'll say this again. During the election, I was against any large development. I've been talking to the residents. I work for the residents, and they have suggested other things. Perhaps townhouses would be less impactful than large developments. So I'm not against development. I've said it before, smart development. That means development, not developer-led development. So what we probably need to do with whatever properties we have available, which is really nothing at this point, is do something and start working on somebody talked about having a master plan. Well, we can really jimmy that down now because we don't have much property that has to be developed. So we can look at the future of Holtec. What would we like to see there as a community? What would we like to see? Would we like to see 50-story apartment buildings? Probably not. Would we like to see something, as somebody mentioned before, something for the kids, maybe some type of a recreational thing? Maybe. But listening to the residents and just, yeah, we don't know what the impacts are, you're right. But some of the stuff is common sense. So we just, like I said last time, we need to tone it down. Let's learn to speak to one another. Let's stop saying bad things. Let's stop accusing people. I've ended up being the worst person in the world. And you know what? You never know what a horrible person is until you run for public office. I didn't realize it was that bad. Now I know. So let's stop. Enough. So you know where to find me. If you got a problem with me or something I said, something I didn't do or something, please come and talk to me. I'm not a bad person. I'll talk to you. I'm not going to scream and yell at you. I might agree with you. I might disagree with you. I don't know. But let's be respectful to one another. This is so important for us. This is part of quality of life that we have here. This is not good if we all hate each other. What's the point? I'm sorry. I'm venting. I feel better though. Thank you.
Okay. Well, just to follow up what Steve was saying about the agency code number, Steve and I have been talking about this for years. Steve's always been behind it. So if anyone's saying he hasn't been, that's not true. As far as the lead agency issue here, I know a lot of people may be looking at me right now saying I changed my vote. I didn't change my vote. What I did, I spoke to the village attorneys, both of them, David Smith. I wanted to get more information about this to see what really had to happen here. And I took the advice of the village attorney and David Smith and Mark Blanchard as what should have been done here tonight. My mind isn't made up. I know how I feel about things. I'll tell you when I talk to you personally how I feel about them. And this is all about finding out all the questions you want answered. We're going to get those answers for you now. And as far as what the mayor's saying, I said, I think it starts here at this table here in front. The way we treat each other is the way we have to be. We have to lead that way. I'm not blaming anyone for it, but we all have to own our part in this being this way. As some people out in the audience have to own their part in the way things are going. So you can't point fingers at each other. Look in the mirror at yourself and say to yourself, am I being appropriate? Am I talking nicely to people? You have a right to speak your mind. We may disagree. We may get loud, but at the end of the day, we do live in the same area. We live in the same community. We see each other walking down the street. We pass each other in the car. So, it's not a good look. The social media is horrible. It's not a good look in this country the way we look. They're laughing at us across this country, whether people know it or not. You have a right to say you have to send on the social network, but at the same time, remember, it's reflected on all of this, the community, not just you or us. So that's really troublesome to me, how we're being perceived in this county, in this town, and in this country. So I think that's really despicable that that's going on. And people have the right to say what they have to say, but try to be more respectful and not, point fingers without talking to the person personally and seeing how they feel. So I got that off my chest too, so.
Feel better too?
Something I've been wanting to say.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons I ran, because I'm really tired of this behavior.
Yeah.
We have to look at our board here and figure out how we're going to work together, agree to disagree, have healthy disagreements. It's the only way we're going to get through this. Healthy disagreements, not anger. So thank you. And everyone have a good night.
All right. Thank you, Bob. Good comments. Marcus, you're next.
Sure. Just a couple of quick things to update the board. At the last meeting, we discussed the grant from the Harkham's office. So I want to provide the board and the public with an update. When we would discuss the Westchester Avenue project, we were talking about the numbers. That project was estimated to be 1.5 million due to the sidewalks on Westchester Avenue. We did receive a county safe safe routes street grant for $392,000. That leaves a remainder of 1.145 million. We did apply for a TAP grant on that one. We haven't heard on that yet, so that's still pending. We might get all of it, some of it. So that's one aspect. But
Yeah.
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 But that might take another year or two by the time we hear from TAP. So, and we want to maybe activate what wants to move forward with the grant. The other one was the Kings Ferry Road and Tate Avenue project. Went back to my emails, went back a couple, almost a year ago. The town engineer estimated that project to be between $80,000 to $100,000, but again, that was some time ago. And that will also, and then he will have to put in about 100 hours of town engineering time, according to his email. So the town will have to agree to put 100 hours of his time to engineer and go out to bid. So I don't know if they're willing to still do that.
Amount to 200,000.
Yeah.
Just the total project could be 100,000 just for the town. Who knows?
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
who knows?
So I just want to throw that out there. And then somewhat related to it, I talked to George today. He might have an update regarding the pavilion for the workshop.
Oh,
So we can put down the workshop, talk about the pavilion. Also, we had a meeting with the DEC regarding the sewer treatment plant, the upgrade from 500 gallons per day to 750,000 gallons per day. Very interesting. They finally came back with their new requirements. They are substantial. The situation is, even if we were staying at the 500, these are new regulations coming out throughout the country, and this regarding both drinking water and wastewater, both. It's affecting every single community in New York State, these new requirements, and they could be substantial in nature, not only the cost, but labor intensive as well. So Allied and Tide would think if we can come to the workshop, update you and the board and the public in regards to what we might see. If, again, these new regulations are in the draft document, we believe it's going to happen because other agencies have a complaint about the new requirements. Their NICOM is having a conference, a webinar on these new requirements as well. So it's hitting every single community in New York State. These are not federal. These are no New York State requirements. So again, just to give you guys an update. So now that we have the bubble diffusion original proposal, we might have additional costs to meet the new guidelines as well. So just to give you guys an update on that.
That was always a concern if there were going to be new requirements. We discussed, years
Yep.
ago about
Yep.
that. And
They're coming
now they're
up-
coming through.
Yeah, they're coming up with them right now. So again, Allied has an idea of what the new equipment would be, what the new testing would be, what the estimated cost of that would be. And we'll be able to give you some estimates, possibly what that might mean if we have to meet all those new requirements. So just to give you guys another, so it will be an interesting meeting at the workshop regarding those two items, the pavilion and the wastewater treatment plant. Okay. Yes.
And I forgot 9/11, the 9/11 ceremony. It's 25 years. Believe it or not, it's 25 years later. Will be, and I'll give more information at the workshop. It'll be at the Croton Landing at 4 p.m. It's Buchanan's turn to host it this year. So anyone that can make it there, it's an important day. We promise to never forget. Something positive. I'd like to talk about something positive. At the workshop, can we talk about the playground, potential redoing the playground behind the highway department? I know we touched on it once before. So that would be great if we could discuss something like that.
Well, so Marcus, I think it's a new initiative for disabled veterans.
Oh, it's interesting. That
Where
was
they have
in the news.
save on taxes.
That's
Property
interesting.
taxes.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you can get some more information. for
Yeah,
us.
it's good for the public. For the Portchester was the first one in New York State. There's a new law that passed for 100% disabled veterans. They get 100% exemption on their taxes. Portchester was the first one to do it. Actually, Mount Kisco is considering, the county is considering it. You have to opt in to do it. So if the board is interested, Cindy and I can give you some information on that from the assessor's office. And then we could discuss that in the workshop as well.
Yeah, if we can get some more information. Thank
Yep.
you.
All right, comments from the floor? Anyone, or did everyone speak before? Okay.
Hi, Carla Thompson, 225 Ketchum, nothing to do with building. You had mentioned last week you were looking for ideas for the $100,000 grant from P. Harcum for the safety initiative. Something that occurred to me was we have starting in September, obviously, when the school opens up, the 15-mile-an-hour speed zone starts right on that end of Westchester Avenue, about a quarter mile in between and either way, which is great, and it's supposed to be. But it occurred to me, like, most of the kids actually don't walk to school. They're bused. They're up a hill, a couple hundred feet. And we have that provision for the 15 miles an hour. But what I do notice is the day camp. The kids are actually way closer to the road. And we don't have that provision for that kind of speed limit in that area. And I was wondering if that's something we can look at to lower the speed limit during day camp hours for the couple weeks that we have day camp to 15 or 20. Since the kids are so much closer to the road, a lot of the counselors walk or ride their bikes. And in the morning, I know that they've redirected traffic pretty well. There's not like quite that congestion, but still during the middle of the day, the kids do wander and sometimes things happen. If we can get a speed zone there, that might be a good thing to use the initiative for.
The board did look into that and it was not legal for us to do it because it wasn't a school zone. And that's why you see the little
Gotcha.
signs, temporary signs up along the road. But the board did look into that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good point. Thank you. Okay. Cindy, you're a pro with that. Girl.
I'm usually asleep by now, but
Thank you for staying awake.
I'm back here to a few reasons. Trustee Laker pointed out that in the code about lead agency, I tell you, I'm a little remiss of that. I didn't realize it was like that because the years past, it used to be any one of the boards could take and be lead agency.
It's for
That's my
this
bad.
specific action for the zone text.
That's my bad. I didn't know that.
It's not for every application.
No, it started,
Who?
actually, it started years ago. Remember, we had you probably remember, they were doing a proposed 62 and over
Yes.
on the Griffin. The code was changed at that time, forcing that this is the project that they have to take over, and it was never changed back. I mean, it's up to you if you ever wanted to, but right now you are the only people.
And just two other things that really don't mean anything. But when you're on that side of the desk, it's not as easy as what everybody thinks from out there. That said, sometimes you have to make some decisions that are tough. I was the village when Byram Concrete wanted to put a batching plant over where Cook's is now in there. We got sued. Al Puro was their attorney, and he sued the village for 10 million and each member of the board for 2 million. To be honest with you, I kind of laughed because if I had 2 million, I wouldn't be here. I'd have been going someplace else. That said, so you have to make a tough decision on stuff. And I think maybe the only one in this room can remember this. I know Bob Wheeler can, maybe Cindy. We had a budget one time that the mayor put forth for 15%. Bob was sitting in the audience. And I went through the budget that whole weekend. And I said to my wife, if we're going to do 15%, we're going to lay off 2 or 3 highway guys and a couple cops. Remember, Bob? So at the meeting that night, they hashed around, well, let's go to 25. When it got to my turn, I said, I'm going to tell you something right now. Do you want to lay people off, or do you want to keep the village as it is? And I made the statement that we had to raise the taxes 100%. You remember that, Bob? So did I want to raise the taxes 100%? That's basically, for a politician, put the rope around your neck and jump off the side. That's over with. But I explained myself a lot, and I got reelected twice after that. So it wasn't something, but sometimes you have to make the tough decision, and somebody has to ask the hard question. And I've always went with, when I'm up there behind in one of those seats, I've always went listening to the public and really what they think. Because, well, you're right. They put you up there. I didn't put you up there. So people that voted for you put you up there. Same with me when I was there. And it's not easy. It's not. I get it. But you have to make tough decisions sometimes. You just have to do it. It's the way it is in life, Thank you, board.
Clarification, I was not the mayor at that time.
No, you weren't.
Okay, anyone else? Any other comments?
I'll state my name again. It's Dan Stewart, 211 Tate Avenue. So just a couple things to hit on. We mentioned rezoning for the waterfront district over there. I think the village really needs to look at a master plan if we're going to go that route and incorporate into the master plan what we want over there. So we get a clear indication of where we're going forward. Question from Marcus, AMS. Are they fully assessed for taxes now?
No, they have one more year. Next year, be fully assessed.
Okay. To hit on what Steve, Trustee Laker said, misinformation. I saw something posted on social media about the Giordano project that we sold 11.4 acres for $400,000. That's the kind of stuff that's floating around out there, you know? And that was non-quote, uncensored. But that's all I've got. Thank you.
With that water development property, taking lead agency, we're looking at that, and we'll probably be looking at Holtec also, so that when that property does, they are looking, Holtec is working to release that. Who knows when that'll be? They have quite a bit of cleanup to do. But the board will discuss what they want to see. And, of course, we want public input, what the residents would like to see. There's always other options other than housing too. So that's a discussion that we'll be having going forward. Anyone else? We're still going to go in executive session? Are we still, do we need, no, we're good? Okay.
So,
I'm sorry.
real questions.
Excuse me.
So this developer got a big win tonight for himself, obviously. Are we going to use shared mitigation at some point in this thing? Mark's been asked several times looking into it by not only Teresa, the mayor, myself, and has never, like most things, come back with an answer other than it's going to bring low income. Teresa proved it's not going to bring just low income. This development has the process or possibility of having low income, whether we want it or not. He can take vouchers. He's leaving an open book on the table. So shared mitigation, why are we not looking at this? Why are we not going after this? You talk about money revenue, it's going to offset a lot of revenue. New Rochelle brought in over $26 million. Portchester, I saw some of their stuff. I can't even get through the whole thing. It's too much to read. So any answer to that one?
I don't know if it's too late to look at that now that.
I've only been asked for a year and a half.
Yeah, no, I know. I agree with you.
So obviously there's something,
Yeah.
But Teresa, I think if you do the secret process as part of the mitigation, that'd be part of you can bring that up as part of your discussion as well.
You know what, Cindy, could you do me a favor under Portchester? They have their whole shared mitigation. They seem to be pretty good with their shared mitigation plan.
I would pull both. I pull New Rochelle and Portchester. They have a lot in common. Okay. Second question, Mr. Laker. What misinformation did Mr. Ferguson bring to you about the agency code itself? And before you even answer that, did you reach out to Mr. Ferguson? Because you said at that meeting you were going to be in contact to have a conversation with the guy to talk about the agency code and what can be done.
Actually, Jim and I did speak in the parking lot afterwards.
Okay.
And Bob and I, we had a discussion, and the board actually met in an executive session afterwards and discussed it further. So yeah, it is moving along after my discussion with Mr. Ferguson.
But what was the misinformation on the agency code?
He specifically, I explained it earlier, he specifically pointed to me and said that I was against having an agency code. That was misinformed. I was never against an agency code.
Okay. I just want to make sure that's clarified. Okay. Not a problem. That's respectful. And one thing I want to say, look, I do agree with you too. This has become pretty much a disaster. There's a lot of people at each other's throats. It's social media. Listen, I'm guilty of some of the stuff too. There's not a person in this room who's not guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of something in this game. We all are. Right? But people, obviously act out in anger. They see what they see. They only hear what they hear. I mean, I agree with Bob. There are people way outside this realm looking at this thing 100%. But we have to do a better job. And you as a team, okay, can't scream, I can't work with one person. Because once that happens, it's over again. You guys got to really sit down, dig deep into working as a team and figure out how to do it. People here voted for you guys. They obviously believe in you people. Well, be a leader. First one in, last one out. All right?
That sounds like firematic talk. Thanks, Eric. First one in, last one out? Something like that, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't say it the first time. Rob McCarthy, 201 Park Street. I'll be 2 seconds. In regards to what Will said with social media, I agree 100%. I've been engaged in the argument on social media But I sent the board an email with regards to a very serious concern, especially with the national side of it. Awilda, I thank you for your response. One of the response I received was received, and not another email from another person on the board. There was some serious concerns in that email with regards to social media, with regards to the posts that are going nationally, and a response. I mean, I'll even accept the received as a response, but from 3 members, I didn't get anything. I find that a little disconcerting. Thank you.
Rob, can I ask you something? I don't know if it was, I don't know, because I'm not a keyboard warrior Facebook. When I'm on Facebook, happy birthday, congratulations, get well. And I don't read half of it because I don't want to make myself crazier than I already am. But I don't know if it was on Facebook, TikTok, I don't know.
TikTok or Instagram Reels, whatever it
Yes,
was,
yeah,
one of those
all that
video
stuff.
posts.
Did you report to TikTok that there was a situation? Because I don't know.
I don't know what they did, but I have a screenshot of the initial and
Okay.
everything else, which I'm keeping to myself for the time being.
Okay.
But we are being put on a national stage. It's no longer conversations or debates going on with people in this community. Posts have been put out there that have hit the national stage. And if you click on people that have commented, I kid you not, it's across the country. And we look like a joke. We look like we have 2 black eyes, never mind 1 black eye. And to even bring it a little closer to home, multiple locations or multiple groups in this area have told people to stop posting because they don't want to deal with it anymore. We look like fools. And we're perpetuating the cycle. And listen, as I said, I've been involved in the discussion probably as much as anybody has. But we're no longer internal. We're very external. We're very exposed, and we don't look good. And I think it would be feasible that the board handle that situation in whatever way is within their power because we look bad. Thank you.
All right,
You
thank
got another
you.
one? Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
as one of those people that didn't respond to you, Rob, I thank you for sending that over. I do believe that's something that we should probably have our legal counsel take a look at and see if there's anything that can be done from a board
See it.
perspective. Right.
You can forward it to me.
Well, yeah.
You know, and in trying to get the community back together, we usually have Buchanan Day. If anyone has any idea, you know, this goes into team building and things like that. Do you have any idea other than Buchanan Day, because we cannot use the pavilion? I think we need to come together as a community, whether we have a picnic or some type of an event, or I don't know. I'm at a loss, but if anybody has any ideas, please let us know. I think that would be great.
I have a question.
Sure. Yes, go ahead.
Are they're doing the race,
Yeah,
correct?
they're
In
still doing the
September. So
race.
why don't we all get together and come out to support them?
We could do that, and maybe we could just have like
Some refreshments
Yeah,
and
barbecue.
cookies and things
Yeah,
like
that
that.
would be good. Yeah, I just, you know, it was my only concern because we can't use the pavilion.
Mhm.
I guess we can look out and see what the weather is. And if it's gonna rain, maybe we just get a tent. You know, we don't need a big tent like the.
Yeah, because it's expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
It doesn't even have to be anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, just
Anything
a
elaborate,
hot dog.
just show
Yeah.
up to support the runners.
Yeah, I think that would be nice. That'd be a nice community event. Okay, that's true. That's true. Yeah, maybe the I'm sure the firehouse would be willing to be part of the community. They're always part of the community for Buchanan Day. They do our cooking for us. So, all right. Yeah. All right. All right. That's an option too. All right. We'll talk about it. Like we're looking a month and a half from now. So yeah, that would be great. Yeah. I think we need that. I think we need to come out and hang out together and have a burger or a dog and just bring us back as a community. Any other comments? And maybe the police department will give out ice cream. Now that's an idea, Courtney. All right, everyone. Oh, Lisa, yes, ma'am.
Hi, Lisa Mercora, 162 First. I just wanted to say, you know, as our village is growing, obviously we are going away. If increasing our population so much from 2,400 to 2,900, possibly to 3,500 or whatever. We're no longer quite the sleepy little village that we were. And I mean, for you guys, obviously, it's more hours, more service, more work. It's a lot. I think this recent round of everything that went on, hopefully, I have to say, as far as it being a circus or whatever, I always speak respectfully to you all. I speak respectfully to the audience, but I do think things like the signs, the petition, the awareness, the news, the people coming up, I think that's all very good because if AMS really, people did not know about it till way into the process. Our newsletter, the announcements about things are typically very, the small print in the code type of language. I have looked at agendas and newsletters for other villages where it's a little more clear. I did see on the last August newsletter, it spoke about the lot and the thing, and then it said the 11 unit condominium. So I think when the public feels like they're being not listened to or left out, I think that stirs it up a little bit. So more transparency would be really appreciated. And I know that you all are going to try to work together better, and that's great because, we don't want to feel like you're not listening to us and that you're possibly just voting along these lines or kind of like revenge voting or whatever. We don't want to hear that or see that. But, that did come up during this process where, there was a trustee that we could hear clearly saying things like, we needed Anthony for our vote. Oh, why do I have to, this again? Oh, Jesus. Oh, this is as if it's a hardship to listen to us. And that I think riles up the people too, because we do wait our turn to speak. And, one time you decided we could speak longer than 3 minutes, and that was objected to because it was your side or something like that. There is no sides. Everyone in the audience that day got to speak for more than 3 minutes if they wanted to. So, I would just please say, that doesn't help when we see that going on at all. And then as far as this round with this building, impact fees, shared mitigation. Eric's been talking about shared mitigation. We heard the word impact fees. There's a lot that hopefully we learned from AMS because I think AMS probably, maybe you didn't know everything that there was to know. There's things more to know. And then I just wanted to say one thing about the lawyer serving you with that document. That bothers me because he specifically said to you that day in the meeting, he said, I won't make a big deal out of it, but let me see the letter. And he is making a big deal out of it now. So please be careful with them. They seem like they're a little possibly, I don't know what that word is, litigious. Yeah, but like he did say, I won't make a big deal out of it, but you should know, you shouldn't do that. I didn't get that letter, but I saw it. And I thought it was great to get everyone involved and to come out. It didn't say if you were for it that you shouldn't come. It just said, this is going on. This is what, it was a little bit of information about it. I happen to think that kind of communication is really good. And I also think as far as these issues that are coming up with code of ethics, I don't know if you all have read them or seen them. But, even with the thing with Anthony, conflicts of interest, no officer or employee in the village shall knowingly act as employee for any firm or corporation interested directly or indirectly in any manner whatsoever in business or professional dealings with the village unless full disclosure is made as to such interest to the village trustees in writing. This all could have been avoided if everybody maybe, was up on some of this. He could have told you guys in advance. You wouldn't even be having this discussion. This wouldn't have happened. He would have, let you know he's working for this company. Is it legit? It would have been not an issue. So I just think transparency and, I don't know, we talk about we're going to have possibly more police or more fire. I mean, towns, the bigger they get, they have a town supervisor instead of volunteers because we're getting complex and we're starting to go in that direction. So all of this, starts leading us in that way. And we are a very small village. We don't, many of us don't really want to be a city. We like it small, like a village. So, and we like it to be safe. And hopefully maybe there is some way to pursue. I guess the moratorium thing doesn't even make sense because there's no more land to be bought. So, but maybe really before we go forward with anything on the Holtec land, like you said, have all of that buttoned up with village input. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. You wanna talk about that?
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
So you wanted,
Yeah, executive.
okay, exactly. What are we doing? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hi, Lori Perch, Donahue Court. I wanted to say, I see and hear a difference from the board members. And I'm wondering if it has anything to do with the fact that you were able to get more clarity after talking to your lawyer or having your executive sessions, but something seems different in a positive way. So in terms of us asking questions and getting an answer, I heard a lot of that tonight. But maybe it was because this was newly discovered recently by some of you, or maybe you assumed one thing, but it was really another. So if we continue on that path, I think it will benefit everybody. Last thing I wanted to mention, and I'm no expert, but when a kid does something wrong and they say, oh, I'm sorry, they're taught that they will see, that you expect to see a difference in their behavior with them being sorry. It's not just words in the air to get away from me. I'm sorry, just leave me alone. For over a year, I've seen it go back and forth with behavior and apology and behavior and apology. And where it's directed doesn't seem to be the right place all the time. Is there something that could put our minds at ease if you guys had some type of intervention workshop to help you work better? To, whether it's buzzwords, you can't say I hate you, you can't say I'll never work with you, you can't say, there's got to be something you can do to bring yourselves together to work better. And I'm thinking it's got to come from the outside. It can't be, I promise I won't anymore, and I'm really sorry it won't happen again. I think it would reflect a more professional thought process from all of you and all 5 of you. And I think it could only be something beneficial. So I think it's seriously something you should consider. There's all kinds of trainings and how to trust people better for people who work together. It's not every day, but you do work together. So it's something I really want you to think about. Lastly, is this permanent, this clock?
I believe so.
Is it borrowed or purchased?
I don't know. It wasn't
Who
involved.
purchased it?
I did.
Why?
I was told to
By?
by the board.
I didn't know it was being purchased, but that's okay.
Well, don't usually.
Talked
We-
about
no,
it at the last
They
meeting.
did talk about it. I
You
thought we
checked
were
with all
talking
the board
about
members before that? Like, I feel like we're ready for a, basketball game and, someone's on. Now Cindy has one more job to do. It just doesn't seem right. I think before, like when I was one of 2 people in the audience over the years,
That's true.
it was manageable. Why couldn't it stay the same? That's money we could have saved.
I didn't know that's what exactly we were buying. I thought we did talk about something, but I thought it was going to be like, they have like a little
Yeah, it's a
box
bit
that
much.
sits
I feel it's a bit
on the
much.
table.
You want me to return it? I'll return it.
But thank you.
Doesn't matter to
They
me.
said no returns, no refunds. I don't know.
No, we can return it. You want to return it, return it.
Well, we do need something
think we
to.
need-
We do need
track
something,
of
the
it.
board discussed it,
Yeah.
and this is commonplace in other municipalities. I think it's a good tool for us.
No. I could be wrong.
Didn't answer Marcus.
All right, I could be wrong.
Are we going about, I'm sorry, Sal, excuse me.
matter.
For a personal.
We can do it pretty
Yes.
quick.
Okay, I'm sorry, Sal. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Salvatore Tavano, 167 Lindsay Avenue. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Hello, everyone. I just want to say that we appear to be at a positive inflection point for open, honest communication and transparency. So I'm very hopeful that, we'll all work on that and continue that for the benefit of our village that we are all putting first. Other than that, I haven't used all of my 3 minutes, and I was wondering if I could bank the rest of them for the next meeting. Thank you. Have
All
a
right,
great
Sal.
evening, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, anyone else? We're good? All right. I- Are we good with the personnel or personal?
2 minutes.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for a personal conversation. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Have a good night.